Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tennessee Fats, and today we're going to be talking about some fairly serious stuff. This is stuff that, for most Conanophiles out there who are watching this, I'm going to warn you ahead of time. Get on your tinfoil hat, be prepared with a box of tissues, and just we're going to get through this, okay? I know I'm going to be saying some really hurtful words here. They're coming up soon, so just be ready. So if you need that stuff, go get it right now. Pause. Okay, I'm assuming we're not paused anymore and we're back. Okay, I don't normally talk about movies here. It's not my shtick. I talk about comics. And in particular, I talk about Conan comics. I talk about Conan books. I talk about Robert E. Howard. But that side thing. What we're talking about today is something related to a movie. And I think some of you are going to already be thinking, wait, I'm a Conanophile. You've said this is hurtful. And you're talking about a movie. Okay. Let me show you something. Just don't freak out yet. Okay. This is the Conan the Barbarian, The Mask of Acheron movie adaptation. Okay, now before you freak out, all right, just calm down. I know many of us who are Conanophiles, about a decade and a little bit ago, were sitting around in the summertime thinking to ourselves, boy, am I looking forward to seeing a Conan movie. Woo, it's been so long since I've seen one, I can hardly wait. And then it happened. And then we had to deal with that. We had to deal. It was a movie. And it came and it went, and there's a lot of different opinions on that particular movie. And I'm not going to get into my opinion on this particular movie, but what I am going to say is that I know for a fact that a lot of the feedback about this movie is not good. Okay? I particularly have some thoughts on this movie. And maybe one day, if you guys are interested, I'll give you my thoughts on this particular movie. But what I got to tell you today has to do with the comic. Okay? So we're talking about a sensitive topic. It's the movie. Today we're going to talk about the comic, which is sort of on the periphery. Think of it as like a moon hovering around the movie, okay? All right, just focus on the moon for here. Now, I read this, and this is a book that I never thought I would own. I never thought that if I did own it, that I would really read it. And the third thing is, I never thought the outcome of that would ever be what has brought me to now. This is the part where you all are going to think I am BS crazy. But you got to bear with me here, because I'm going to say something that's probably going to shock you. Okay, we'll get through this. We'll get through this, Tennessee Fats. We'll get through it. Okay. This didn't suck. Yeah, okay, now hold on. Now, this is the part where most of you are going to say, forget it, I don't like this video, I'm out of here, to heck with you, Tennessee Fats. No, well, wait. I'm going to walk you through why this didn't suck. And the next part is, I'm going to walk you through why you probably actually want to get this and read it. Okay? These are all out there sort of things, so just hopefully you've already got your tinfoil hat on, you got your box of tissues. We're going to get through this, okay? Let's get into it. Oh, okay, all right. Had to get myself a glass of water there. Okay, now, let's get back to this thing, okay? This is, as I say, this is going to be a difficult one, but bear with me here. Now, let's face facts. Many of us, when we saw that movie come out in 2011, sort of at the end of it, we're left with a meh. A bad taste in our mouth. Let's call it that. There are a lot of aspects of the movie that were really good, actually. If you take the small pieces of it and you look for them, you can find them in there. Trust me, they're there. There are a lot of pieces of it which were like, ooh, I don't know how I feel about that. But at the end of the day, we came out with pretty much a meh taste. It's like you went out and you bought yourself a mangosteen. You got your mangosteen and you've taken your time, you've carved around the outside of it. It's all the little purple thing. You've torn it open, looking forward to seeing those little white things in there with the little pits in them, and you're saying, oh boy, I can hardly wait, and you eat a couple of them, and you get through two of them, and then you get to the third one, and it's rotten, because you're in North America, and you can't get fresh mangosteen here. Yeah, but you know what, it's already in there, you can't get that back out. Well, that's like that Conan movie. It's just like that, actually, yeah. So, imagine my surprise when I find out that there was a comic adaptation of that movie that came out in July. The movie came out in August in North America, but it came out in July. And that's this right here. And what's kind of funny about this is actually not bad. And I'll tell you, there's a couple key things in this that I think the majority of you are going to want to know, okay? So first of all, and I'm going to get out of the bag here, because we're going to talk about this, all right? And I'm not going to go through this thing page by page like I normally do in the typical review, because I'm not really doing a full review. I'm just giving you guys my thoughts on why you should get this. Now, it's a nice high gloss book, all right? It's got a nice little wrapper on the back there. Now, what you see on the front here is Conan. See it? And what you see on the back here is Conan. And you're saying, okay, well, that's kind of cool. And it's a big 64 page book. It's got 6 pages of ads in it, and it's a really full thought out story. It's actually pretty good. But guess how many appearances Conan makes in the book? 4. Now, if you include the front cover and the back cover, it's 6. Yeah. The majority of this book actually has absolutely nothing to do with Conan. Yeah. Didn't see that coming, did you? No, this actually is a story about basically his nemesis in the movie and the origin and going along and walking through who this guy is and what the hell is going on in his head. And it's funny because it's kind of written from his point of view and his daughter's point of view. And what's interesting about that is, what's his name here? Kalar Zim. What's interesting is, at the beginning, you know the classical opening of Know Ye, O Prince, all the wonderful Conan thing that goes at the front of every Conan book. Well, what they've done here is instead of having the coming of Conan, it's the coming of Kalar Zim. And Kalar Zim is trying to basically get together this Mask of Acheron. Now, the Mask of Acheron, for those of us who watch the movie, is this thing. And it's a thing that comes from the kingdom of Acheron, which was a kingdom of necromancers, which takes place anywhere between 1,500 years before Conan's time to 3,000 years before Conan's time, depending on when in Robert E. Howard's career he was writing about it. Right. And what it is it's basically something that'll allow him to bring his dead wife back to life. But the story is, it is walking through basically his relationship with his daughter as she's aging from a young child who's basically watched her mother be burned at the stake to this really twisted and dark individual that's being used by the father to bring the mother back to life. And it's the story of their implied planned betrayal of one another. It's really weird. They really are planning on basically murdering one another. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't remember that in the movie at all. It's kind of hinted to, but not nearly as blunt as it is in the story. And I think that really adds something here. Because what it does is when you're now thinking back to the movie, you're getting more of a sense of, oh, that's what that guy was all about. Wait, that whole half of the movie, i.e. the story about that guy, I'm starting to get context now. So what that does is it takes those of you who are sitting out there saying, well, Tennessee Fats, that movie sucked. It makes you now step back and go, did it actually suck? Wait. Yeah, seriously. Bear with me here. I'm not going to spoil it. You got to go buy this on your own, and you got to read this, and you got to make your own call. But what I'm telling you, as a guy who watched that movie, and who went, Mangosteen analogy included, guy who watched that movie, and ended up with that bad taste in his mouth, I'm not feeling so bad anymore. This has helped. This is almost therapeutic, in fact, for you Conanophiles who are just dealing with the trauma of that movie. So this might be something you want to go get for that very reason, okay? That's reason number 1 why this actually isn't so bad. Okay. Reason number 2 of why this actually isn't so bad. Now this is one that's out there. So, okay. It's funny because all these reasons are actually in juxtaposition of the movie. Never mind. Forget that now. All right. Reason number 2. All right. What didn't you really like in the movie? That's a fairly broad question. I know a lot of people are going to have a lot of strange answers about that. And a lot of people are going to say, Tennessee Fats, what the hell are you talking about? I love that movie. And for those of you who did, fantastic. Continue to love that movie. But for those of you who didn't, what didn't you love about that movie? Well, you know, one of the things that I didn't particularly love, it was okay, but it wasn't fantastic, was how they wrote Conan himself. Conan himself. I'm a Conanophile, so think about how painful that is for me to be able to say, everything was great about that, but Conan. Well, that's actually not true, because there are a lot of other things in there that weren't that great either. But either way, one of the major things here was, yeah, Conan. Well, this book has a whopping total of 9 lines of dialogue in 64 pages from Conan. 9! There's so much content in background and everything else. Conan really just comes in here almost like a sparrow, just and stabby, and gone. It's incredible the way he just comes in and goes back up. It's just, what's he doing? Who knows? And I got to tell you, from the point of view of his protagonist, and I'm now actually characterizing the bad guy as a protagonist, what the hell was Conan all about? It really makes you wonder. It's like, wow, actually, I'm starting to see that guy's point of view now. the limiting the influence of the Conan in the actual Conan movie is actually helping me. Huh. Wow. That's reason number 2. All right. Okay, so I actually had to grab the book here. All right, because reason number 3 is a visual one. And I told you guys I'm not going to go through this thing page by page because honestly, I am actually encouraging you to go buy this. And I'm repeating that because it seems so unbelievable to me that I'm saying this. But it's true. Okay. Number 3. And you guys know I'm crazy about maps. It's almost like I'm some sort of a cartography guy or a guy that's interested in land or real estate or something. It's almost like that, isn't it? It's strange. But you know, I do like my maps. And in this, and I'm going to flip to the page here because this is pretty important. It's right at the end of the story here. Doobity doobity doobity. You're going to get a bit of glare on this, but check that out. Just look at that. This is the map that they stuck in here. Now, look, there's Moo down there in the corner. Look at the detail in this. Now, listen, that's just a quick view, okay? Go get the book and find it yourself. I can tell you this, as Tennessee Fats, me, I spent so much time staring at this map. When I had this sitting on the desk upstairs in the office, my eyes were starting to go buggy on me. It was a thing. Because as I'm literally reading this and staring at this map, I'm picking up all these cities and I'm looking at the named places on this. And you guys have heard me say this before, that up until this point in time, this is the best Hyborian Age map I've ever seen. Well, this is a strong contender for taking over top position. Now, I think my favorite actually is Marvel Treasury Edition. Is it issue 15 or 23? Hold on. Bear with me. Okay. It's amazing how I have things at hand. It is... I believe it is actually 23. No, it is 15. Issue 15 here does, in fact, have what I think is the greatest Hyborian Age map up until 1977. This, on the other hand... Santa Maria, you know, you go through your life and you're a Conanophile and you're doing your thing and you're doing stuff. And then out of the blue, bibbity bobbity boo, bam! Something like this is thrown in your face. And like, damn! This is good. You want this for reference. And I can tell you why you want this for reference, because the cities and the rivers that are named in this are at such a level of detail that when you're reading through your actual Conan stories, this is so useful. And it's not like it's a high-value book. You can just flop it around and do whatever you want with it because you've got the map sitting right here that you can easily get access to. That's your number 3 as to why this is not a bad thing, okay? Okay. Reason 4 and last... Whoa, easy, chair, easy. Okay, reason 4. Now, I've got the book here. Now, many of you have seen me flop this book around, and it's funny because every time I grab this thing and hold it like this, I'm like, in my hand, I have a list of the 10 names of known members of the Communist Party working for the state. I feel like McCarthy, but I'm not McCarthy, by the way. Anyways, in here, you have, at the beginning, an intro written by Robert E. Howard, and it's his essay on the Hyborian Age. Now, the Hyborian Age, for those of you who don't know, is his attempt to draw together what created the Hyborian world that Conan lives in. What's the backstory? What happened here? And this is something that I believe Howard probably thought should be more of a fluid thing. Okay? I'm saying that because sometimes when he was writing, especially as he went on in his career of writing Conan, which wasn't that very long of a time to begin with, some things changed slightly in his edits. Now, Acheron, okay? I believe this was only mentioned and named once. It was probably referenced a bunch of times because there are many times where Robert E. Howard is referencing a Cyclopean precursor age or a precursor civilization, which had a cataclysm. As I say, it was 1,500 or 3,000 years before the time of Conan. It depends where in Howard's career he was at that point in time. And within that, there's reference to this Acheron, the named place, which I believe was in Hour of the Dragon. And it was an Hour of Dragon because I believe the bad guy in Hour of the Dragon was from Acheron. Now, the other place where Acheron is from, for those of you who have read a lot of the early Marvel stuff, you will remember the story of Zucala's daughter, which I think was Conan 5 or 6. Not entirely sure. Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you. It's one of the two. Or it could even be number 7. No, I think it was number 6. Anyway, in that, Zucala comes from Acheron. What is this Acheron place? Well, this is a good question, and it's a solid question. And it's funny because if you're like me, and I sure as hell hope most of you are not like me, because being like me would probably drive most of you nuts. Remember at the beginning, that's when I said I'm not crazy. Well, I believe there's a debate to be had on that, but never mind that. When you look at the big picture, and when you look at these little threads of stories that Howard wove into everything, including Black Colossus, where I think is probably one of the shortest stories with the most loose threads in it that Howard put in there on purpose, just to keep you hooked. But when you look at those, I'm always picking at them, trying to figure out, well, what is this story, and who is this person, and what's going on here? And Acheron is one of those things that leaves you sort of going, well, what is that? How did it come to be? And what was its relation to Stygia? Because we know that somehow it coexisted with Stygia. We know this. Well, Conanophile. At the end of this story, not only do you see what happens to the bad guy, or the main character, or protagonist, as I'm now calling him in the Conan movie, and how he ends up falling into the hands of the necromancers of Acheron, but there is a 4-page essay piecing together what they believe to be the actual story of Acheron based on all the little tidbits that Robert E. Howard left behind. Now, that saves you and I so much time in having to go and try to figure out, well, is that what he's talking about here? Is that what he's talking about? No, these guys have done it for you. So the question of what is Acheron? You're welcome. It's right there. That, I think, is the biggest one. That is number 4. And that is the last reason of why this really does not suck. All right, it's conclusion time. Okay, the chair is trying to kill me. All right, listen. I've been a lot of tongue-in-cheek throughout this whole thing here, and I've made some fairly sarcastic comments. And for most of you who know me fairly well and have watched my videos by now, you know sarcasm is really my medium. It's the ocean through which I swim. But I think the point is coming across here. I think you're getting what I'm saying. So let's take off the tinfoil hats. Let's get down to brass taxes here, shall we? This book didn't suck. Okay, let's just start with that. For a $1 bin book, which I'm sure you can go out there and find this in a $1 bin somewhere, this is something worth buying. For if you're a Conanophile and you watched that 2011 movie and you said to yourself, meh, like most people did, based on what I'm reading online, myself included, then you're going to want this. Because this took that meh experience of that bad Mangosteen and it turned it into more of a, let's call it a fruit cocktail. It's just not that bad. Sure, it's got all sorts of sweetness to it. It's probably going to rot your teeth out afterwards. But you had a good time eating it. And at the end of the day, you're a happy person. And you're feeling better for it. That's what this does for you. This is like the mouthwash fruit cocktail of Conan movies. You want it for that very reason. Second reason why you want to get this. If you're a Conanophile like me, and you're reading stuff like this on the daily, you want this. That article in there about Acheron, giving you the full story, that's huge. I gotta tell you, I read that, and as I was reading it, I was like, bing, 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 mind blown. Like, I was like, oh, that's what happened there. Oh, that's where Natok actually came from in that whole Black Colossus story. Yeah, guess what? It's in there. Yeah, and that map, if you're reading stuff like this and you're saying to yourself, well, where the hell is that river? What the hell is that city all about? Well, it's in the map. Go. Take your $1 out of your pocket, run into the store, find this, buy it. Whew, okay, well everybody, that brings me to the conclusion on this one. I hope you enjoyed this one, and if you did enjoy this and you enjoyed the Robert E. Howard content that we discussed on the channel, by all means subscribe. If you like this particular video, give it a thumbs up. If you have a comment to make, or maybe you enjoyed that Conan movie, make a comment below. I'm sure we can all be civil about this sort of thing, and we're grown-ups, and we can manage that we all have different opinions. So, if you want to put a comment below, just try not to be a dick, okay? Now, before we head out today, 2 things that I wanted to bring up. And one is, I wanted to pass out a big thank you to the author of this particular book, okay? Mr. Sterling watched my review wherein I read this and had my commentary and posted back directly on the video and actually pointed out a very valid medical point, which never would have occurred to me. But fortunately, the author of the book did, and actually totally makes sense. So when I was sitting there going, man, I don't think that actually would have happened, I was dead wrong, and he was 100% right based on what I've actually read of what he had to say. So thank you for posting the comment and reviewing. found that to be one of those mind-blowing moments that here I've got the author of this book watching my video where I reviewed it and telling me what he thinks and actually responding to me. So thank you very much. I did appreciate that. Hopefully we'll have more experiences like that in the future. And coming up, other things we're going to see coming up, I did get my hands on one of these bad boys, which is the actual complete collection of the Cull of Atlantis stories that Robert E. Howard wrote. Now, I don't know much about the actual editions of these and how this might have been edited or not edited based on the original written work. I'll do a little more research on that, but we're probably going to be heading down the road shortly where we're actually doing comparisons of Robert E. Howard's Cull stories with the actual Cull magazine comic reprints. And if possible, if I can find some Dark Horse stories that cover the same ones, maybe we'll be doing a Robert E. Howard Battle Royale that actually covers Cull. That could be fun. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And by all means, have yourself a great day. What is with this chair? God, it's haunted. What is it? Written by the chair created by the producer of Conan, the 2011 genius movie? We're recording. All right. Hold on.